And ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this very exciting segment today on the 22nd day of September 2022. It's a public holiday right here in Brisbane, but that doesn't stop the rain. So it's rainy and 18 degrees and cloudy. Of course, rain's going to stick around for the rest of the day by the looks of it. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, it's wonderful to have your company on this public holiday in Queensland, in Brisbane. So it is for the Queen. And as we know, that different states and different areas might have their holidays on different dates. But this is Queensland, this is here we are, so it's a public holiday today. And of course, all the employers are bracing up for getting that call tomorrow to say, sorry, we can't come to work. So people are going to make this a extra long weekend. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So there will be a lot of sickies being thrown in tomorrow. So that's what the word is going around. But anyway, let's get on the road with the show today. And of course, because today is in remembrance of Her Majesty the Queen. And of course, so that's why we have this. So the funeral has triggered a lot of sorrow in Britain. But now the role is what's going to happen next with the monarchy.
Here, where Queen Elizabeth was married and crowned, we gather from across the nation to mourn our loss.
The world might never see a funeral quite like this one again. Attended by presidents and prime ministers, the live pictures from Westminster Abbey were broadcast into many millions of homes. Swathes of the city were shut down and crowds waited from the early hours of the morning to watch the late monarch's final procession past Buckingham Palace.
It was lovely. The crowd was amazing. The people were getting emotional, paying their respect.
The service she's given to his country, it's the least we can do to say thank you.
At Windsor, people standing 10 or 20 deep to pay their respects as the Queen's body was taken towards St George's Chapel within the walls of the castle she called home. Her internment there alongside her late husband, an historic moment that brought the long Elizabethan era to a solemn end. The focus now on the next generations of the House of Windsor.
Whatever your views on the royal family, there's no denying this was a big moment in British history. And a key question now is how much of a turning point will this be for the monarchy's role around the world?
70 years as a reigning monarch, it's unheard of. And of course it's a massive loss to the British public. I think she was probably the most well-known and respected lady in the world. And I honestly, genuinely believe that.
Baron Ian Botham of Ravensworth is a member of the House of Lords.
Typical Botham shot, and that's gone down the ground.
But of course, Beefy is most famous as one of the greatest ever cricket all-rounders. He hopes our nation doesn't now get rid of the King as head of state.
The Australian public will do what they want, entitled. They're allowed to. It's their country, and whatever they feel is best. I think it'd be a shame if it did go that way. We fought toe-to-toe with each other, you know, trenches, world wars, cricket matches, rugby matches. The history, it goes on forever, and I think it'd be a shame if that happened.
Here in Cardiff, the First Minister of Wales has claimed that the breakup of the United Kingdom could be closer now than at any point during his political lifetime. And even though support for independence here is certainly in a minority, a number of people do seem upset that Prince William has been granted the Prince of Wales title.
It's ridiculous. So to be honest with you, the fact there's no consultation is par for the course, but it's not great and it doesn't make a lot of sense.
So you don't think he should be Prince of Wales, but you're kind of torn?
I don't think he should be Prince of Wales because, after all, Wales was taken by the English.
Like other parts of Britain, polling suggests views on the monarchy diverge partly according to age.
You think a Prince of Wales is a good idea?
Yes, I do.
How come?
Well, I just think we need something here, and I think he'll be very good for us. You know, very good.
In 1969, there was a special investiture ceremony for Charles after he gained the Prince of Wales title.
The symbol of sovereignty.
But when he arrived in the country as king for the first time, a small group of protesters heckled him.
We have to pay for your parade.
Thank you for coming.
The taxpayer pays $100 million for you.
It's about the hereditary system. It's about somebody born into privilege. It's about the setup of such an institution that shouldn't exist in the 21st century.
Bethan Syed was the youngest woman ever elected to the Welsh Parliament and is among those committed to getting her nation to cut ties with the king.
So do you think you'll see change in Wales in your lifetime?
I think if there are referendums in other countries, such as Australia and others, Jamaica has indicated that it would like to have a referendum, I think that will lead to a tidal wave of change. It will be inevitable then that there will be some sort of movement in discussion.
Well, minorities make a lot of noise, don't they? And I think it is the minority. To be honest with you, it's a free world. If that's what you want, keep banging the drum. I don't think many people are going to listen.
Some surveys suggest the events of the past 10 days have given King Charles a bump in support. But the real challenges will be as life returns to normal here. In this nation, the cost of living is rising rapidly and energy prices are soaring. And now the future, the standing of the British monarchy, largely sits on his shoulders.
Challenging times ahead, and it will be interesting to see what actually happens and how all this transpires out. Well, of course, right now, moving on, let's take a look at some of the other news here locally as well. Sydney Airport has been, stuck with bad weather, and many flights have been cancelled. Here's that report.
Commuters have been warned of heavy traffic and lengthy delays as many people head off for the extended long weekend. Mahnaz Anguri is at Sydney Airport for us this morning. So, plenty of people taking advantage of the public holiday. Mahnaz, how are the airlines planning on coping with this?
Good morning, Mads. Yes, well, it has been quite busy here at Sydney Airport all morning. We are expecting more people to come through and take advantage of that public holiday we have on today. Now, Sydney Airport was already gearing up for a very busy September school holiday period, so hopefully some of the preparations they made for that will come in handy today. They said they're expecting more than 2.4 million passengers to come throughout that September school holiday period, with more than 1.5 million of them being domestic travellers. Now, they even had a jobs fair yesterday where thousands of people came through and had a look at more than 4,000 roles available here across different airlines, as well as across different retail stores in Sydney Airport as well. Now, we've been told that there have been a lot of flights cancelled. I had a look at the screen and there were more than 20 flights that were cancelled, but Sydney Airport have told us that's because they are expecting bad weather today. Now, we also know that increased traffic means that there will be delays, so people are being told to come to the airport 2 hours before their domestic flight and 3 hours before the international flight. In saying all of this, I have been speaking to quite a lot of people this morning, a lot of Swans fans, by the way, coming your way for the finals, and they've told me that they're not too fussed about the crowds. They said that the lines are moving and the crowds do seem contained. Here's what some of them had to say.
I usually drive to Melbourne, but yeah, not much of a difference.
No, not really.
No,
not at this stage, but they do. The security guy got down there, reckons a bit later get busy, so.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to it.
I knew the airport was going to be busy, that's why I'm early.
Yeah, okay, didn't think it would be this busy, but yeah, okay with that.
We are expecting a lot of traffic on the roads as well because there will be people travelling by car. Transport New South Wales have said that they're expecting heavy traffic on the M1 Pacific Motorway, the Princes Highway and other major routes out of Sydney, including the Great Western Highway and Hume Highway. So motorists are also being told to plan their trips in advance so they can really avoid those lengthy delays that come with public school holidays.
Yeah, and make sure that you obey the rules because there are extra penalties in place too.
Yeah, double demerits came into effect yesterday in time for today's public holiday, and they'll be in place until midnight on Sunday. And they'll apply to all seatbelt, speeding, motorbike, helmet offences and mobile phone offences. So the message is clear, plan your trips well and really make sure you are careful on the roads.
Yeah. Well, there you are, up to date on Australian Indian Radio on this public holiday, 22nd of September. And as I mentioned before, and so is the case happening in Sydney as well, extended long weekend, and people are taking advantage of that. And last night, if we saw Brisbane, it was at a standstill. All the streets were at a gridlock because it seemed like, it's coming on to Easter or, just the break before Christmas. It was like that. So many people, all having had their shoppings done and everyone, and so many cars on the road. All the roads were just at a gridlock yesterday. It was just amazing to see that. And as I mentioned before, in Queensland, today is a holiday, not tomorrow, but a lot of employers have braced themselves for that inevitable calls that will come in tomorrow to say, sorry, I can't come to work today. So there we go, and making that a very, very long weekend for the people. Well, right now, the next news, we go to Melbourne, where the killers of the nightclub patron and the bouncer are given life sentences. And of course, viewer discretion is advised on this scene.
21-year-old Jacob Elliott fired the gun out of the window while co-accused 24-year-old Alan Fares drove the stolen Porsche and getaway car past the Love Machine nightclub in Paran in April 2019. Security guard Aaron Osmani and patron Richard Arrow were shot in the head. 3 others were injured. The jury and judge found it was a planned act of retribution for the eviction of Elliott's half-brother from the nightclub hours earlier. Both Elliott and Fares were found guilty by a jury in April of 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder. Justice Andrew Tinney said their actions were callous and left behind a trail of devastation and destructions. Your crimes were committed in a public street. The message you ended up conveying was extravagantly and brutally violent and chilling. He did not accept that the pair of best friends were carrying out a plan proposed by Elliott's father, slain crime boss Nabil Magni. Both were sentenced to dual life sentences with a non-parole period of 27 years fixed for Fares and Elliott 29 years. Before he was sentenced in the courtroom today, Elliott swore at the judge and refused to stand to be sentenced. A brother of one of those who died had to be restrained and removed after he moved towards Elliott in the dock. Outside the courtroom, one of the shooting victims said he was satisfied with the sentence.
They were my friends, 2 of my best friends. They died. They didn't deserve that.
Kate Ashton, ABC News, Melbourne.
That's a grueling fact, and it is just not right, when those kind of acts of violence happen right there in the street. And, the contempt of court as well, not standing up in the court, swearing at the judge, that just says that all. Well, right now, looking at the next news, where most of the whales that were stranded in Tasmania have died.
This is already a very tragic scene. What happened?
Yeah, good morning, Mads. It's a devastating thing to happen here in this community. And for these whales, we know right now that around 230 pilot whales have become stranded not far from where I am on Ocean Beach on Tasmania's west coast. You can see behind me Macquarie Harbour here, and it may look calm right now, but it's a world of difference not very far away on the coastline. You can even hear from where I am, you can hear the waves crashing onto the shore there, and those are the conditions that are really hampering the efforts to save these whales. And unfortunately, the latest update from authorities is that around half of them have already died, and it certainly seems like it's an uphill battle to save as many as they can.
So this is unfortunately not the first time this has happened here.
Yeah, Tasmania is unfortunately known as a hotspot for whale strandings, and in a cruel twist of fate, exactly 2 years ago to the day yesterday when this incident occurred, there was Australia's biggest mass whale stranding right here in Macquarie Harbour. Now, 470 pilot whales in that incident were stranded, and to put it in context, only around 100 of those survived. So certainly this area has seen this sort of incident before, but its impact is huge.
Very sad day down there at Strawn. Thank you very much, Monty.
It is rather sad, but of course, how does that happen is, I think, when there's a whole school, they just fly off in and then they get caught with the tide going out. Quite unfortunate. Well, right now, let's a bit of a breakthrough in the new treatment, which is proving successful for people living with osteoporosis.
Activities can be difficult.
Severe knee pain, I'm unable to be getting up and down quickly.
With my left knee, which is now caving in, biggest thing I guess is that I really like walking and I can't walk as much as I used to.
But a program developed in Denmark is striving to take some of the pain away through 6 weeks of education and exercise.
The 2 education classes cover different aspects of the factors that contribute to osteoarthritis, the signs, the symptoms, and also the management and different treatment options.
Bed exercises with balls, so it's lifting up your pelvis off the bed, doing some crunches, sit-up sort of work, warm up on the bikes or the treadmills.
The program aims to improve outcomes for participants as well as healthcare providers.
So the lengthy waits that we have in surgery for this type of condition hopefully will be reduced by that, and people are just reporting that they can do more, they can spend more time with family.
They really enjoy coming in, getting together with the other participants and forming friendships.
And after only 6 sessions, these participants are already feeling the benefits.
Feeling a lot more confident in walking, which is what my main aim was, and being able to get up and down off chairs easier.
The ultimate aim would be to avoid surgery, so if I could do that, then that'd be a really brilliant outcome.
Improving the quality of life for those living with pain. Emma Thompson, ABC News, Canberra.
And isn't that wonderful that, with a little bit of exercise, your mobility gets so much better. And I couldn't vouch better for that, because that is something which is helping lots of people. So never think that, you can't, you don't give up. Help is available, seek some assistance and do what it really takes to get out and about, and then you get mobile. Well, right now, the Victorian pediatrists are calling for the investigation in a spate of child deaths. Here's the report.
This happy 8-year-old is the face of a crisis in Victoria's health system. Amrita Lanka died in April at Monash Children's Hospital. Her family told the ABC in May that their pleas to escalate her care were dismissed by staff. An inquiry has been launched, but they're still searching for answers.
I am afraid how many more would be suffering like this. That needs to stop.
Her case is far from unique. Senior paediatricians have raised the alarm about the number of paediatric deaths and near misses inside Victoria's emergency departments.
We are concerned. We know that there was a 6-week period where 3 children died from sepsis. Now that's the tip of the iceberg.
In July, Safer Care Victoria highlighted an increase in sepsis events. It found that parents were experiencing difficulties being heard by clinicians. Staff had limited knowledge of the signs of paediatric sepsis, and there was a lack of standardised pathways of care. Dr McMahon was a member of the Victorian Paediatric Clinical Network, which provided advice to Safer Care Victoria, but that group is being replaced as part of a restructure.
There's increasing numbers of children presenting and not being identified. We're the eyes and ears of paediatric care in Victoria, and we need a voice.
What will it take for the government to finally admit that Victoria's health system is in crisis and lives are being lost?
And they are 100% committed to making sure that our hospitals learn from every adverse event, every sentinel event, every tragedy.
It's little comfort for parents dealing with the worst grief.
Someone should fix this. They just can't let this happen. At the end of the day, it's a life, it's a young child's life cut short.
Richard Willingham, ABC News, Melbourne.
And totally agree that something really needs to be done, and that needs to be looked at. because it is just not on that, if an extra care had been taken, that child's life could have been saved. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time to go to our daily India report.
Welcome to the Daily India Report that brings you reports, interviews, features and more on India and the Indian diaspora. India has pledged complete support for the United Nations General Assembly. Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has pledged India's complete support for the United Nations General Assembly and commitment to multilateralism during his meeting with Saba Korosi, President of the 77th session of the UNGA at the UN headquarters in New York. The Sustainable Development Goals Framework for Global Progress was one of the centerpieces of the conversations between the UNGA President and Jaishankar. Jaishankar said in a tweet that he discussed the criticality of the SDG agenda for global progress and shared Indian experiences in that regard. Jaishankar is slated to attend more than 50 formal engagements this week, including bilateral, plurilateral and multilateral meetings. The Indian minister is due to make India's message to the United Nations General Assembly on September 24th, which is convening under the theme A Watershed Moment, Transformative Solutions to Interlocking Challenges. Commemorating the nation's 75th anniversary of independence, the highlight of Jaishankar's visit will be an event on September 24th, India at 75, showcasing India-UN partnership in action on New Delhi's cooperation with the UN and its march towards the Sustainable Development Goals set by the UN. The India-UK Free Trade Agreement is likely to be implemented by the festival of Diwali in 2022. India's Union Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal has said that he has received a letter from Britain showing their willingness to follow the Diwali deadline for the India-UK Free Trade Agreement. India and Britain concluded the fifth round of talks for a free trade agreement on July 29, 2022. British High Commissioner to India Alex Ellis also reaffirmed the same and said that India and the UK aim to complete the free trade agreement by Diwali this year. Ellis underscored that the agreement between the two nations will increase employment and offer economic development to India for the next 25 years. He stressed that now is the time for the UK and India to support each other as partners in the growth of the two nations. Alex Ellis made the remarks on the sidelines of an event held in New Delhi. The UK High Commissioner underscored that the FTA will create more jobs and opportunities for India to grow and develop. According to an industry report released in August, trade between India and UK will double by 2030 from the current level by more economic engagements between the two nations and diversification of global supply chains and ease of doing business. India and the UK had expressed willingness to have a comprehensive free trade agreement during a virtual summit between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his then British counterpart Boris Johnson. Events are being organized to celebrate the endorsement of the city of Varanasi as the tourist and cultural capital of the SCO for the year 2022-23. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization endorsed the Hindu holy city of Varanasi in India as the first ever tourist and cultural capital of the grouping for the year 2022-23. Indians have welcomed the announcement and are in a celebratory mood. Indian Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra said that several events would be organized by Uttar Pradesh state in collaboration with the union government to celebrate the recognition of Varanasi. The leaders of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization on September 16th endorsed the city of Varanasi as the first ever tourist and cultural capital of the grouping for the year 2022-23. The Indian delegation at the SCO summit held in the Uzbek city of Samarkand was led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Uzbekistan handed over the rotating presidency of the grouping to India for the year 2022-23. Quatra said the SCO announcement is a befitting recognition of the historic city and opens the door for greater cultural and people-to-people ties between India and the region. Quatra added the SCO also decided to set up a special working group on startups and innovation at India's initiative. India would be its permanent chair. The summit also decided to give permanent membership of SCO to Belarus and Iran. Sundar Pichai is the first top Indian-American tech business leader to visit the Indian Embassy in the US. He talked about Google's activities in India with the Indian envoy to the US. Indian origin Google CEO Sundar Pichai met with the Indian ambassador in the US, Taranjeet Singh Sandhu, and discussed the technology giant's activities in India. Pichai laid particular emphasis on Google's aggressive push towards digitization. Pichai tweeted thanking Ambassador Sandhu for a great conversation. This is for the first time that a top Indian-American tech CEO has visited the embassy. Pichai said he appreciated the chance to discuss Google's commitment to India and looked forward to continuing Google's support for India's digital future. Pichai was named among the 17 awardees to receive the Padma Bhushan in January 2022. Indian envoy Taranjeet Singh Sandhu also tweeted that he was delighted to receive Google and Alphabet CEO Pichai at the embassy. The two exchanged thoughts on expanding India-US commercial, knowledge and tech partnership between India and Google. Google, under Pichai, has made a massive investment in India and phenomenally expanded its footprint in a wide range of sectors, including its training for the younger generation. Google has announced an investment of about $10 billion under Google for India digitization. It also has partnerships with Reliance's Jio as well as with Bharti Airtel. Indian Air Force has launched Project Cheetah to boost Make in India in the defense manufacturing. The Indian Air Force is planning to move forward with its Project Cheetah, wherein Indian defense manufacturers would equip the Israeli Heron drones with strike capabilities. The ambitious Project Cheetah aims to improve the Indian Air Force's fleet of Israeli-made Heron unmanned aerial vehicles with more robust communication capabilities and long-range missiles that can strike enemy positions from long range. According to earlier plans, the project was to be completed with Israeli weapon manufacturers. However, the IAF is now planning to bring the project to an Indian firm. The IAF is the key driving force behind the project that will also see the Israeli drones in the Indian Navy and the Army updated with strike capabilities and enhanced surveillance and reconnaissance pods. With this improvement in surveillance capabilities, the forces on the ground would be able to gather precise intelligence regarding hideouts in regions where armed personnel must participate in operations. In addition to this, the enhancement would also make it possible for the ground stations to fly these planes from a far-off distance and remotely control them via a satellite communication network. The Australian cricket team chased down 208 to beat India in the first T20 international in Mohali. Visiting Australian cricket team beat India by 4 wickets to take the lead in the opening match of the 3-match T20I series on September 20th in Mohali, Punjab state. Asked to bat first, India got off to a good start with opener KL Rahul scoring a half-century to set the platform for hard-hitting Hardik Pandya to go berserk at the end. The in-form Pandya pummeled the visiting bowlers into submission with his unbeaten 32 ball 71. The all-rounder smashed 5 sixes to take India over the 200-run mark. India finished their innings with a total of 208 for 6. For Australia, medium pacer Nathan Ellis 3-30 was the pick of the bowlers. In reply, Australia opened with Aaron Finch and all-rounder Cameron Green. Soon the two Aussies put Indian bowlers to the sword, with Green scoring a 32 ball 61 before wicket-keeper batsman Matthew Wade came out all guns blazing with 21 balls 45 to take the visitors over the line with 4 balls to spare. Only Akshar Patel had a good outing with the ball for India as he finished his quota of overs with 3 wickets for 17 runs. With the win, Australia took a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series. Gujarati film Cello Show has been selected as India's official entry to the 95th Academy Awards, popularly known as the Oscars. Gujarati film Cello Show, which is titled Last Film Show in English, has been selected as India's official entry to the 95th Academy Awards. This was announced by the Film Federation of India. The film has been selected in the Best International Feature Film category. Cello Show had its world premiere as the opening film at Robert De Niro's Tribeca Film Festival and won multiple awards across various international film festivals, including the Golden Spike at the 66th Valladolid Film Festival in Spain, where it also enjoyed commercial success during its theatrical run. Cello Show will be released in Indian theatres on October 14th. Director Nalin Pan took to Twitter to react to the news. He wrote, quote, "OMG, what a night this is going to be. Gratitude to Film Federation of India and thank you FFI jury members. Thank you for believing in the Cello Show. Now I can breathe again and believe in cinema that entertains, inspires and enlightens. At last Film Show won, #Cello Show, #Oscars, end quote." Cello Show revolves around a 9-year-old boy who resides in a remote village in India and his love affair with cinema. The film shows how the little boy spends the summer watching films from the projection booth. Bollywood actor Ayushmann Khurrana will soon be back on the silver screen with another quirky comedy, Dr. G. The makers of the film released the trailer of the film. Let's have a look. Known for his versatility and stereotype-breaking roles, Wiki donor fame actor Ayushmann Khurrana will soon be seen in the role of a gynecologist in his film titled Dr. G. He plays the role of Dr. Uday Gupta, who wanted to become an orthopedic doctor but ends up being a gynecologist, a profession that is believed to be more suitable for women. Ayushmann shared the trailer of the film on social media. In the trailer, Ayushmann's character hilariously deals with the challenges that come his way in becoming a good doctor. The trailer shows him trying to survive his years in the medical college, where he is taught by a female doctor played by Shefali Shah and is bullied by Rakulpreet Singh and her friends for being the only male gynecologist in the batch. The more he tries to adjust to excel in the field, the more brickbats he faces. One of the biggest challenges that he encounters is building trust among female patients and their family members when it comes to being comfortable with a male gynecologist. Sheba Chadda plays the role of Ayushmann's mother in the film, who wants to join a dating app to get another chance at relationships. Directed by Anubhuti Kashyap, Dr. G is another hilarious ride where Ayushmann breaks another stereotype with his own entertaining swag. He has to lose the male touch to become a successful gynecologist, and that keeps the audience hooked throughout the trailer. Dr. G has already created a good buzz on social media, with the audience appreciating Ayushmann for bringing yet another relatable piece of cinema. The film is slated to hit the screens on October 14th.
कोशिश करते रहिए, बच्चा जरूर होगा। एक साल में 116 बार निशाना साधे। समझ में आ रहा है आपको? आप गिन रहे हैं। इन्हें सही जगह पता नहीं है, ये गलत जगह घुस जाते हैं।
That's all for this bulletin of Daily India Report.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have for you in this segment today on this public holiday here in Brisbane and Queensland. So on the 22nd day of September, it is 18 degrees now with rain in most of Greater Brisbane. Hey, it's been wonderful having your company. We'll catch up again tomorrow. Until then, it's goodbye, and tomorrow we'll bring an update on all the functions and events that are going to be taking place in the weekend. Well, until the time, it's goodbye from us.